apparently it's okay to slow down. And I know this sounds very strange to some of us, including myself. And if I'm being honest with you right now, this concept has been very foreign in my life. And I've only just begun getting familiar with it recently as an adult. So let me give you a backstory so that you can understand what exactly I mean. I went to a Catholic primary school right there in Nyeri. Let me say the discipline was optimal and a little traumatizing. But anyway, we used to have a policy that required every pupil, that's what we were called in primary school, right? Everyone was required to be running every single minute as long as you're not in class. And if you're in class, you're seated, right? So let me share how my typical days were like. Very early in the morning, our alarm was the school matron, or what they call the dormitory matrons. So she'd go like, "Can you wake up?" I can't mimic, but you get the point. She was so loud, and best believe, before that sentence was completed, I myself would be halfway to the bathroom together with 300 other students. And we were just running so hysterically, you'd think there's a fire in the dormitory. And 1 minute was just enough for us to shower. Because do you know these tiny buckets that usually hold about 2 liters, 3 liters maybe of water? That was what most of us were using to shower in the morning. Why? Because for one, the water was super cold, right? And again, we were showering outside at like 4 a.m. You don't have the luxury to stay in the bathroom for too long. So that goes without saying, 1 minute was enough to shower. And after that, we'd rush back to the dormitory, and personally, I would dress up haphazardly. And what I mean by that is we used to wear dresses in our school. So I just put on my dress without buttoning it up, then throw on my socks, get into my shoes without having to secure them, put my jumper over my head, carry my sweater on one hand, and in the palm of the other hand, I would have like a pump of lotion to get my day started. And why was I doing all these things? Because I was trying to save time. Remember, rushing is a policy in the school, and as much as you can do to save your time, go ahead and do it. And this was just my system. After being the way I was, I'd rushed very fast to class. It almost felt like a competition throughout, a 100-meter race throughout. So we would run very fast to class, and then once you're seated, that's when you'd start tidying yourself up. Because again, if you're untidy, you are gonna face the wrath of the teacher. So we would tidy up and then catch your breath, and when you're ready, you start reading your books. By this time, it was around like 5 a.m. or so, or a little bit earlier than that. And so you had about an hour to study. And then after that, during breakfast time, the breakfast bell would ring. And let me tell you, believe me when I say 5 seconds were enough to have all of us running helter-skelter in the school compound, all of us heading towards the dining hall. You would think we were starving, honestly, because of how fast we were running. Have you ever seen a headless chicken running? Now imagine thousands. Okay, we were not 1,000 in the school. I think we were like 400. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But all of us would run to the dining hall, and then you'd find a bowl of porridge ready for you. And within 5 minutes, you've devoured all of it. Again, you rush, go wash your bowl, then return the bowl to the dining hall, then again, run to class. I think you're already getting the gist over here, right? We had been trained to know that if you're walking, you're wasting time. And it does make sense to some extent, but in hindsight, I'm just thinking productivity is not really equal to speed. I don't know what you think. Let me know in the comments. But basically, that was how we were trained. So we were ever on full speed, So after breakfast, run back to class, read a page or two, and then we would go for parade. If it was Monday and Friday, I think. If it was any other day, you just wait for your first lesson. And that was it, basically. Now, after I was done with that, I went to high school, and I had believed that high school would be easier, would be slower, would be better. Well, it was better in some instances, but not all of them. So running was one of those bad things that I found in my high school. There was a running policy which also insisted on saving time. And again, yeah, I know it makes sense, it saves time, but I don't know. Thinking about it right now, I just feel like it was putting us on high cortisol and high adrenaline throughout. But anyway, that was the policy. Now, for those who are prefects, they had the privilege of not having to run. And God knows how much I wanted to be a prefect. I really wanted to be one because I was thinking to myself, imagine not running. Oh my gosh, it was a dream that never came true, unfortunately. So because it never came true, occasionally I would fake injuries. But this one time I actually got a real injury and it hurt so bad. But it was such a lifesaver. So let me give you the backstory of how this happened. We were in school as the Form 3 and Form 4s during the tuition. So this particular day, we had the Form 4s going for dinner very late at night. Remember, we the Form 3 had already had our dinner. So by the time the Form 4s are going to have their dinner at around, I think 9 to 10 p.m., we who had already eaten like at 5 p.m. were starving already. So my friends and I decided we were gonna sneak in to the dining hall and have late dinner. Like, what a joy. Late dinner in high school. So we sneaked in, and you know what the motivation was? In our group of friends, we had the dining hall captain with us. So that tells you we had a very legit reason to feel confident sneaking in. So we just followed her confidently like her minions. We were very happy because she was gonna serve us late night dinner. So we got into the dining hall, and then the doors were closed. I can't remember how that happened, but they were closed. So she just told us to follow her. She was gonna sort everything out, and we shouldn't have believed her. Because tell me why there was no food to be served, like everything was finished already. But remember, again, the doors have been locked. The only other way out is through the kitchen door. And since she was the dining hall captain, she had access to the kitchen, but we did not. And so we decided, you know what, we are gonna follow you regardless because we're not gonna be caught in this mess. So we followed her. And I remember we were 5 of us. I was the 4th in line. And I remember as soon as I was about to walk out of the kitchen, the chief chef saw us and he yelled at us. Automatically, we knew this was going to be a big case, so we started running. But in our running, I missed a step, hit my foot against a massive stone that was holding back the door, and I fell to my knees. I literally fell to my knees. You'd think I'm praying. That was the posture I took. But because of how dangerous it could get if I got caught, I decided I'm not gonna stay here and feel the pain yet. So all of us kept running. I stood on my feet, kept running. And when we were at a safe distance, I realized I was bleeding profusely from one of my knees. It hurt so bad. I still have the scar to prove it. Like, it's the only scar on my body. Long story short, it was still a lifesaver because I had evidence I cannot run. Anyway, so once that was done, I went to campus. And occasionally I would find myself jogging, and I had to constantly remind myself, this is university, there is no running policy. But that was the life. Growing up where everything is rushed or you're always in a hurry, automatically that's not gonna stop in a day. So my campus life was not any different, except I didn't run, I walked very fast. Especially when I was by myself, I walked really, really fast. And everything else I did was always in a rush. If I'm cooking, I'm doing it in a rush. If I'm eating, I'm doing it in a rush. Taking water, I'm gulping down the water. Literally everything I did was in a rush. And then one day I had invited a friend over to my house and we were cooking. And he heard me from the kitchen and he was like, "Why are you cooking as if you're fighting with a pot? Slow down." And it hit me. And the part that really hurt me most, in a good way, it was necessary. He said, "I lack grace." I have never forgotten those words because they put me in a state of being conscious of my speed. Occasionally, I would forget, but I'd remember you lack grace. So I would try to learn to be more graceful. Yeah, so that has been my life. Always in a rush, always on high cortisol, always on adrenaline. If I'm at home, I'm walking very fast from the living room to the bedroom as if there's anything special waiting for me in the bedroom. And basically, it's always been like that. Driving very fast, walking very fast, cooking very fast, eating very fast. It's exhausting. Then one day, I went on TikTok and came across this lady who was doing a video of herself washing her face. And she was doing it very, very fast. No grace at all. There's no gentleness in how she was doing it. And then she had written on the screen that when you realize you don't always have to do everything in a hurry, then she slowed down and did it so gracefully, so gently. It spoke to my heart. I teared up, honestly. And I thought to myself, so I really don't always have to rush. I don't have to bathe so fast. I don't have to eat so fast. I don't have to walk so fast. I don't have to feel like there is always urgency. I don't have to feel like there is always a deadline. It liberated me. And since then, I have learned to slow down. Let me be honest, some days feel like I'm transgressing. When I slow down, sometimes being graceful feels like breaking an oath. But I have to constantly remind myself it's for my own good, because the anxiety that comes with rushing everything is not even good for your health. Because last year I went to see my doctor, and when he was doing the triage, my heart rate was so fast. At some point, it was close to 100. And he told me to relax. And I was like, I'm relaxed. What do you mean? And he told me, you need to breathe. You need to slow down. And it made so much sense because I had been so used to rushing everything. I didn't even realize it was having an impact on my system, my heart, my nervous system. My sleep was affected. My anxiety level was so high. And it was high time for me to unlearn doing everything so fast. So if you're listening to me and you resonate, take this as your reminder. It's okay to slow down. It's okay to walk slowly. It's okay to eat slowly. It's okay to just enjoy your shower with no hurry, no pressure. Because at the end of the day, you're going to feel more relaxed. You're going to feel more productive. Everything you do is going to feel more intentional. And you know the best part of it all? Psychology says that the person who's slowest in the room is actually the one who commands the room. Have you ever watched a video in fast speed, then watched the same video in normal speed, then watched the same video in slow motion? You're gonna realize the video in slow motion has a stronger impression on you, a stronger impact on you, because slowness commands authority. It commands power in the room. It dictates the atmosphere, and it says, I'm in control here. I know what I'm doing, so I'm not in a hurry. I control my time. Time does not control me. So I hope you can allow yourself to relax. You can take a deep breath. You can be graceful. Life doesn't have to feel so hurried all the time. Be gentle on yourself. Allow your adrenaline and cortisol to lower. And when you're tired, go get some rest. Trust you me, those responsibilities that are keeping you on your toes will be there when you wake up. It's okay to slow down. Thank you for listening. I hope this podcast has been impactful and inspirational to you. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Bye.